Hello everyone and welcome back to Brink of Speed. My name is Mike and today I want to thank you for pressing that play button and joining us. Thank you to my thumbs up squad for smashing that thumbs up button already. I hugely appreciate it. And if you're new to the community, please do me a favor and smash that red subscribe button and the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Let's get into this video where we talk about why Corvette news, even if it's big news, is no longer exciting to most people. All right, so real quickly, I'm going to jump ahead because I want to, while I'm talking about the reasons why no one's excited anymore about Corvette news, I'm going to go ahead and build and price out a Z06 or maybe a couple of Z06s while I talk. And just to mention, one of the things that we're going to talk about is this is a piece of news that no one cared about. If you go on people's channels who reported on the C8 Z06 build and price being available, no one cared. No one really watched those videos. So it just goes to show you that the news out there that has anything to do with Corvette is pretty blah right now. People have turned a deaf ear to what's going on in the Corvette world, in the GM world, just because of all of the issues that have impacted the C8 Corvette and the C8 Z06 Corvette. So what are some of those things? Well, the first thing that was impacted, or the first thing that happened, was the strike in 2019. And because of that strike in 2019, the 2020 C8 Corvette was ultimately delayed, and that caused a huge issue with people being able to get their C8 Corvettes in the first part of 2020. We know that COVID hit shortly after that, which caused shutdowns, and that was a major deal because it caused many more to lose the ability to be able to go ahead and take delivery of their C8 Corvette. And so there were a lot of people very early on in the spring and early summer of 2020 who were not able to take delivery of their C8 Corvette, and that was mainly due to COVID. Then we got into supply chain issues after that, and we had many shutdowns based solely off of supply chain issues. And so that really put a damper on people being able to get their regular C8 Stingrays. Not to mention, on top of that, dealers had so many people on their list waiting that they had long waits to get that C8 Corvette. So you either had to pay over MSRP at another dealership and just go ahead and get it, or you had to buy used and pay well over MSRP for a used C8 Corvette. So that's another thing that's really changed the Corvette market from the way that it used to be. The Corvette market used to be Corvettes would come out, you could go to the dealership and you could order your Corvette and it would come in very shortly, or they had a number of Corvettes on the lot that you could go ahead and choose from right then and there. Dealer markups is number 3, and it really has tainted the market. Now, do I disagree 100% with dealers being able to mark cars up? No. However, if they mark cars up higher than what GM knows that market is able to afford, there's your problem. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, you know, I'm not going to pay for a markup no matter what. I just have a principle, and I say I never pay anything over MSRP. But there are people out there who would probably be willing to go ahead and pay over MSRP if it wasn't an enormous amount. The dealers out there charging $15,000 to $20,000, $30,000 over MSRP for these Stingrays, those created major issues because Corvette guys are typically middle-class people who can definitely afford a Corvette, but they can't afford it if it's $20,000 to $30,000 over MSRP. Now, an extra 5 to 10, they might be able to go ahead and swing that, but not 20, 25, 30 over MSRP. So that really caused the typical Corvette buyer, GM enthusiast, to really have a lackluster thinking when it came to the GM Corvette news. People are getting to the point where they don't even want to hear anything about any Corvettes. And to make matters worse, GM really highly promoted the Z06. They were already a year behind on the Z06, and then they decided to bring it out, and then they had major supply chain issues with the Z06, and they had companies that went bankrupt, and this forced them to go ahead and stop production on most of the Z06s out there. So we all know that the Z06 production is only 291 Z06s between now and January, and after that they have to reevaluate things and decide whether they are going to go ahead and produce more than that or not. So pretty major things going on with the Z06, which also in turn have made people just sick and tired of hearing about the Z06. They could care less. They don't want to hear anything. They're ready to just either get a Stingray or move on to something else. Now, after we heard about the C8 Z06 being pushed back, all of a sudden we hear about the E-Ray being pushed back. This, ladies and gentlemen, was another major piece of news that really got a lot of people bummed out, because the E-Ray was something that a lot of people that thought they might want the Z06 decided very quickly, you know what, I can't afford the Z06. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for the E-Ray. It's supposed to come out next year, and I'll just wait, and that should be more affordable. Another thing that really caused a lot of resentment towards GM with the Corvette in general was the increase in price with the Z06. Everybody thought it was gonna be in the mid to high 80s. I thought myself it was going to be the low to mid 90s, and it came out to be 106. And so that's a huge issue. That all by itself caused a lot of people to second guess whether they were going to stick with the Z06 or hold off and wait on the E-Ray, or just not buy one period and get a C8. So a lot of issues out there. Now, the last but not least of all of these issues causing people not to be excited about GM Corvette news is the fact that I think a lot of people out there can tell that GM just does not care about them. Their overall attitude towards the consumer has really been rules for thee, not for me. And so we all know what that does to people's attitudes and people's ability to continue to support a manufacturer that they have loved for many years. That really tells the consumer that they've been loyal and supporting this manufacturer for a really long time, and what good has it done them? Absolutely no good, because what that manufacturer has turned around and done is said, no matter what you have done for us, we don't care. We're not going to reciprocate. We are going to do what's best for us and what's actually not best for you, because we don't care about you. We only care about what's best for the company and what's best for our overall stance in the world. And so that's what they did, and that's what has turned so many people off from GM as of lately. So I get a lot of comments, as you can imagine, of people that absolutely have started to hate the company GM, and I don't blame them. This is not something that I would blame anyone for, because it is disturbing. It is very, very disturbing that they are willing to push us to the side, all the loyal people out there, and say, we don't care about you. We care about our overall commitment to whatever they're committed to in the world. And a good example of that is they have an EV commitment, and they said that they were going to commit to us and help us out with not being gouged by these dealers. However, as you know, these dealers are still gouging big time, and they are charging enormous amounts over MSRP for these Stingrays and for Z06s. And so we thought that GM would have our backs. They don't, and that is a huge problem. So ladies and gentlemen, that's really going to do it for today. I just wanted to address this issue. I'm getting a lot of comments, emails, IMs, messages about how people are just fed up with GM, and rightly so. I've got a different attitude than I did a year ago, or even 6-8 months ago. It's very difficult to be positive and excited about GM in general. general. It just is. You know, I was super excited about getting a Z06 and all of that fell through, and it was a huge disappointment, as you know. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are extremely disappointed about that. They're extremely disappointed about ICE engines going away and them only concentrating on electric vehicles. And then there's people that are super disappointed in how long it still takes to get a C8 Corvette unless they want to pay way over MSRP for a used or even a brand new one at a dealership. So I wanted to address it. Let me know if you agree with my thoughts on this. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have not joined the community here, please do me a huge favor and smash that red subscribe button and the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys out on the road.